pick 5 words to describe me. That's a game I play with my son all the time. So 5 words that really describe Ritu is passionate, focused, imperfect, impatient, and a keen learner. Actually, I'm passionate about bad leadership because to me, bad leadership just shouldn't exist. So if I were to sum that up, I'm really passionate about leadership, but I'm also equally passionate about bad leadership, if that's the right way to say that. There is a phase that every leader goes through, a phase where he or she is not motivated, is a little demotivated, is uninspired, not able to perform to the best of their abilities. And that's a painful period. It impacts them, it impacts their teams and organization. But the interesting part, what intrigued me the most, there wasn't a name for something like this. So then I thought, okay, if this is a phase everybody goes through, how come we don't have a name for it? And the second thing that really intrigued me was that when people talked about it, they were okay to talk to me, but they didn't want to be quoted. They didn't want to be named. And therefore I realized there's a certain stigma attached to it. And that's when I thought, okay, those are the 2 points I want to address. So the first one, I addressed it by giving it a name. So I've given it a name, Leader's Block, which people kind of easily recall and relate to by writer's block. And the second piece of, I thought, okay, let me take my story and all these leaders' stories to the world and also really kind of present the organization saying, that you are losing so much out in terms of tangible losses in case you're not addressing leaders' blocks. As I started thinking of this idea more, the first story I thought of was mine, and it's in the book. And my story is what I share on the stages, because again, I opened myself up so that others could open up. So I absolutely went through, actually quite a few times, leader's block in my career. Yes. The single biggest challenge that I have in my area of work is people not willing to open up or people being resistant to sharing. Through speaking, you actually spark that little fire of motivation and inspiration. But coaching is more about stroking that fire further and being with the person through the journey. It's not only for the leader who's going through a leader's block, but it's also for a leader who's leading a team. Because a leader through this book can also identify and recognize leader's block in his team, right? So it's very relevant for a leader to pick it up if he's leading a team, because he can then pick these symptoms up in his team. It's very important for HR professionals because they are the ones who are really trying to establish a culture in the organization, or they're trying to create new set of values or behaviors in the organization, and therefore this becomes important. And the third one, I would say, of course, the CEOs, because CEOs are made by leaders who are working for them, and CEOs themselves have gone through their journey. So I would say at every level, to everybody in the organization, the book is relevant. There's so much unconscious bias. People assume when they start to see my profile, the first thing they assume is that I coach or I work with women leaders. And then suddenly I tell them, no. About 75 to 80% of my clients are actually males. My advice to women leaders would be, don't try and be a Wonder Woman and leverage your network. To the male leaders, don't try and be a Superman, ask for help. So anybody who wants to watch my story about dealing with leader's block, you should read the book or you should watch my talk.